Hey, what's up, everybody? Good morning and happy Thursday, March 2nd. Dan Kasper Show on the air. Appreciate you tuning in, however, wherever you may be tuning in on this fine start to this Thursday morning. It is a throwback Thursday, also a thirsty Thursday morning. What do we got on the good old game plan here for this morning? Well, going to be covering a lot of bases here. First up, Bucks win their 16th straight game with another victory last night, this time at the hands of the Orlando Magic, 139 to 117. This was also a game that didn't have Chris Middleton. I guess kind of, knee management, if you want to call it, since it was a back-to-back game. I don't know. It's still like it's giving me isn't it giving you kind of like Bakhtiari vibes a little bit with this whole managing the knee situation? Middleton had the offseason wrist surgery, but this knee is giving him some issues right now. So, but Bucks still getting it done, getting their 45th win of the season, improving to 27-5 at home. Giannis, stellar again last night, 31 points. 10 of 14 from the field, including 3 for 4 from 3, and even 8 of 10 from the free throw line. All starters for the Bucks last night in double-figure scoring, which included Drew Holiday contributing 23 points, Brook Lopez 18 points, Joe Ingles coming off the bench putting up 16, and the rookie from Northern Iowa, A.J. Green, 4 of 7 from 3, putting up a total of 12 points. So Bucks will have the next couple days off, today off and Friday off before their game coming up on Saturday. They got that Saturday game there going up against Philly. So with the Bucks right now, do you think right now, maybe on paper or maybe not necessarily on paper, I guess, but from what you have seen so far, is this Bucks team more talented than the championship team from 2 years ago, a couple years ago? You think they're more talented? A lot of the same guys, right? Obviously, Giannis, Middleton, Drew, Brook, Pat. Got a lot of the same players on there. The new one, and Bobby, of course, too. But obviously, they've just added Jay Crowder. They got Grayson Allen on here. Carter. What do you think? Think they're a little bit more talented, or? And I know it's like, well, that team won a championship a couple years ago. We don't know what this team has done so far. I get it. I totally get it. But I don't know. A good feeling about this ball club. And it's going to be tough going on trying to get through Boston. I don't want to kind of diminish Boston or anything like that. But I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know, Giannis, this cat, man. This dude's pretty special. And yeah, I feel like he's played some of his best basketball of his career. But we'll talk some hoops throughout the morning here, including Badgers taking on Purdue tonight, 8 p.m. This is the last game, regular season game at the Kohl Center. Purdue's only favored by 4 right now, which, man, I don't know. I thought it would be a little bit more. I get it. It's at Wisconsin. It's at the Kohl Center and such, but I think I'd comfortably pick Purdue by more than 4 in tonight's game. But that's what the spread's at right now. If you look at the matchup predictor on the mothership on ESPN, they've got it at a 72.3% favor for Purdue tonight. But, you look at this game, I don't think, not to completely downplay it or anything like that, but I don't think if Wisconsin loses, it's really going to affect their tournament chances or like, I should say this. If they win, I think it really improves their chances of getting in. If they lose, I don't think it'll really hurt their chances of getting in. You just can't lose to Minnesota. You can't do that. So, but how you feeling about this game tonight, Badger fans? I mean, do you think it'll be within that 4 where that spreads out, or do you think it'll be Oh, anybody picking a Badger win? I mean, does anybody want to go out on that limb and pick a Badger win against Purdue tonight? You got a little bit more courage than I do. I'll just say that. So we'll talk some college hoops as we are starting to wrap up the regular season here and getting ready for some conference tournaments. I know some conference tournaments are already going on right now, but in terms of the Big Ten conference and such, still finishing up this regular season. So, we're gonna try to stay away from some Aaron Rodgers talk unless something breaks, news wise here. But I thought this was kind of interesting, something new that the NFL Players Association has done, which they've come out with report cards for every team, and the players kind of graded their teams and their facilities and different parts of it. So these were grades from the players. So they've combined it, and the Packers report card has them ranked sixth out of 32 teams. The number one team was actually the Minnesota Vikings. But the categories were treatment of families, food, service / nutrition, weight room, strength coaches, training room, training staff, locker room, team travel. Green Bay didn't get the lowest grade they got in any of these was a B- by the training room there. Kind of just and they kind of do some breakdowns like so for their B-, they tied for 12th for training room staffing. 82% feel they have enough, or excuse me, 73. Yeah, just bunch of different assistant. Eight. Okay, spit it out, Dan. Right, 73% feel they have enough PTs, personal trainers, which is ninth worst in the league. There is a steam room. 92% feel it's big enough. There's a sauna. 68% feel it's big enough. Tubs. 89% of the players feel like they have enough hot tub space. I mean, this is kind of all over the place. They really break this down in interesting stuff. Just looking, at some of their other grades. When asked about the training staff adding to their success, the Packers tied for 15th in the league. This sounds average, but that is because most teams rated their training staff positively. The Packers players gave overall high marks to the training staff, which is why the overall grade is still high. So just kind of some interesting nuggets here. The worst team in here was the overall was the Commanders, which I don't think is a big surprise. But I think one of the biggest surprises to me, you're looking at a lot of these teams, was the Kansas City Chiefs ranked 29th out of 32. 29 out of 32. They had an F in team travel, locker room D-, training staff D-, training room D+, food service and nutrition D+. And I think perhaps what's the most concerning part for the Chiefs one was that they felt discouraged from reporting their injuries. Players responded to this. They do not feel they get the level of personal care that they should. They fear retribution for speaking up for better care. Wow, that's kind of eye-opening. So, going back to Green Bay, though, one of the things I guess the players kind of would like to see a little bit more is updating the locker room. And they want to see some renovations to the locker room, I guess, out there. So, but anyway, some interesting stuff. So what we're going to do a little bit later on, we're going to do our own report cards here, which I need all of your help on. And we're going to look at it for not only Green Bay, but the Brewers, Bucks, Badger hoops, Badger football. And if so, we'll throw a little Marquette in there here too. But we're going to do it from a fan's perspective. We're going to grade the stadiums. We're going to grade the restrooms because we all need to know about the restrooms, right? The parking. How's the parking like? pregame festivities, tailgating, concessions, overall team success, fan-friendly environment, fan-friendly, in terms of stadium-wise or whatever. You know the drill. Ticket prices, miscellaneous entertainment, maybe if they got some concerts or something like that. And, team swag, pro shops, team stores, all that stuff. So we got 10 of them up there. We'll hit that up in a couple hours. So what I'll do is I'll post it up on Facebook too, so it's a little bit easier, or Twitter if you want. But again, if you want to text in some of your grades, you don't have to do it for every team, but if you want to do it for every team, awesome. We'll come up with our own report cards from a fan's perspective. So these report cards are from the players. We are going to give grades from a fan perspective out there. All right. So we'll hit that up. That'll be kind of a little fun little segment activity coming up a little bit later on here. We got a little outdoor tidbit coming up at 8:30 with our Wisconsin Conservation Warden friend, Mr. Jake Boakes. If you have any questions for him, you need to hit me up now with a quick text. We'll do a little Thirsty Thursday. So if you want to do any shout outs to anybody or anything out there, you can do so. I know we got some state hockey and such, playoffs going on the prep level. So I'm sure we'll get some shout outs from there. And we'll do a little Throwback Thursday. That's going to be right after our sports nuggets of the day. Kind of a big one for Throwback Thursday. Don't know how many of you will be around from then. I think Intern might have been around. Yeah, he would. We'll see if he'll remember this game that happened almost 1962. Maybe I just kind of gave it away right there, but never know. So let's get things rolling though here on the opening drive. Let's talk a little hoops. Bucks win their 16th straight. Going to throw out a couple questions to you. Do you think this Bucks team is more talented than their championship team? Do you think they're better than their championship team? And how concerned are you about Chris Middleton right now? He didn't play last night because they're still trying to manage that knee. It was a back-to-back night. Like Boonholzer saying you ain't going to be playing back-to-back. So are you getting like a David Bakhtiari type of vibe here a little bit? Obviously, they were different injuries. Bakhtiari, ACL and such. Middleton's, as far as we know, was an ACL in that. But are you kind of getting that vibe there a little bit? Or are you just like, you know what? I think they're just playing it really safe right now. And then once they get to the postseason, all hands on deck. They're deep. They can handle it right now. They can play it a little safe. What do you think? So let's get at it. Opening drive. We'll talk some hoops to open up things here this morning. Hit me up with some texts on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. Find me on Facebook, facebook.com/Kasper Sports, Twitter at DANKASPER. We'll be back after these quick words. Coming up on March 17th through the 19th, it's the Wisconsin Sports Show Spring Edition. You can head to our website at sportstalk1051.com to for your chance to win some tickets to the Wisconsin Sports Show Spring Edition. Just click on the Enter and Win tab over there. This is being held at the Chippewa Valley Expo Center. For a list of some vendors and speakers, you can head to wisportshow.com. Again, the date's Friday, March 17th from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, March 18th, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday, March 19th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. If you don't win some tickets, general admission, it's $7 for 12 and older. 11 and younger are free. So we'll see you there. Already coming up in a couple weeks from now. So, all right. Welcome back, intern. Did you see any ghosts at the Winchester house?
Yes, always see ghosts.
Oh, I thought for sure.
Mystery house.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no,
yeah.
You step on the thing. It's have you ever been there?
No.
It's.
I know the stories though.
Oh, it's something else. It really is something to see. I've been there 2 or 3 times, but I always see something different.
Yeah.
That I've never seen before, and it's. If you ever get out that way, and it's in San Jose, California, between Monterey and San Francisco. And it's right in the middle of the city, but the Winchester, she married the Winchester from the gun company over in the Twin Cities of Minnesota, and some kind of a Rasputin type said, move west, because after her husband died, long story short, the ghosts are going to be coming after you. So she built this house. She kept building on it from the time she moved in till the time she died, and steps to nowhere and doors to nowhere. It's the craziest place you ever saw.
Yeah, like it was like 24/7 construction crews or something like
all
that.
The time.
So,
always had construction crews.
Man, oh man!
All right, to see.
Yeah. Okay, so you probably didn't hear this, but I'm going to tell everybody. I put it up on Facebook and Twitter if that's easier for them. But the Players Association, Bob, yesterday. Released
football, baseball,
NFL Players Association released report cards for every team. So what the players did during the season, they graded different parts of their team, facilities, and all that. Packers were 6 out of 32. Minnesota was number 1 out of 32.
Yeah, that's quite a facility when you drive over towards the airport there. Wow.
So we are doing our own version from a fan perspective for our teams. So these are the 10 categories that we're going to be grading on.
Okay.
The stadium itself. The restrooms, because those are very important, parking, tailgating or pre-gaming it, concessions, the team success, ticket prices, is it a fan-friendly kind of atmosphere, pro shops, team shops, swag, and other miscellaneous entertainment, maybe like concerts or anything else to check out. So we're going to have a little fun with that. We're going to grade our teams with there. So,
and if you've been over to Twin Cities, they might have the bike best facilities. But some of those other things you just mentioned, they fall down severely.
Yeah. I know one of them for sure, tailgating. I'd throw that one on there. So
which one?
Tailgating.
Yeah, tailgating.
You can't do that. So.
Parking. And it's just, it's a tough stadium to deal with.
Yep. So we're going to do it from a fan's side of things. This should be a lot of fun.
You bet.
So everybody else, if it's easier to text, you can do that, or you can comment on our Facebook and Twitter page there too. So, but we're going to open up things, talking a little Bucks as they've won their 16th straight game, right? 16 in a row, 139 to 117 against the Orlando Magic. Although Hudson still argues with me, it's 17 in a row because Team Giannis won the All-Star game, and Drew Holiday was also
the All-Star game. This is the first I've heard that the Team Giannis won it.
So. Yeah, he played like 1 minute because of that wrist, but he wanted to make sure he was on the court for the fans and such. But he said since Drew Holiday also played on there, it's actually. Okay, I won't argue with you. He's becoming a diehard NBA fan now. He's like big Bucks fan right now. So, but 16 regular season games in a row here. Giannis again last night, 31 points, 10 of 14 from the field, including 3 of 4 from 3, 8 of 10 from the free throw line. Just 28 minutes of action for him. And Drew Holiday, 23 points as well, 9 assist away from a double-double. No Middleton in the game last night since it was a back-to-back. Mike Budenholzer kind of talked a little bit about it. He said that so I'll read a little bit here from Eric Name, who covers the Bucks for the Athletic. He asked Mike Budenholzer, you mentioned that playing a back-to-back was the last box that Joe Ingles needed to check. Is the same situation going to be true for Chris Middleton? Mike Budenholzer said, I think there's probably multiple things. We're probably being very diligent with his minutes and watching that, and hopefully that will increase incrementally on schedule and eventually a back-to-back, what the minutes would look like in that. If they shared it with me, I've forgotten. So I think we're very pleased with how he's going. The progress, the attention to detail from the medical group, from everybody has been good. So he's still got a ways to go. I get Bakhtiari vibes almost a little bit with his knee issue with Middleton, and maybe they're just being extra cautious in that because they're pretty deep right now and saving it for the postseason or such. But
when he has played, he's looked pretty
darn
agile,
good.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And right now, I guess you've won 16 in a row. You can't really complain a whole lot, can you?
I don't think so, but a lot of these other guys are stepping up. And I watched part of the game. I've only seen parts of all these games the last few weeks, and Giannis is always a headline, but then Bobby Portis has been there. Drew Holiday the other day when Giannis didn't play stepped up.
Yep.
And I think that drew a lot of attention to Drew Holiday, how good he is and how in the background he kind of is because of Giannis.
Yeah. That's why I was glad that he got recognized for the All-Star game, getting on there. I was only his second one of his entire career. But, even before when it was before the All-Star break and they had that stretch where there was no Giannis and Middleton, it was Holiday putting up 30, close 40-point game performances, kind of carrying the team on his back there a little bit. We always think of him for defense, but he's a pretty good offensive player when he's in the groove there too.
Yeah, and I think somebody mentioned it the other day, finally, that when you look at the best two-way players, both ends of the floor, Drew Holiday is right there with the best because he does play, as you said, he does play good, solid defense.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of times he's putting a lot of energy in that defense too, where maybe we've kind of wondered, does that affect his offensive game sometimes when he's, like we looked at the NBA Finals, when they beat the Suns. I mean, to have to deal with Chris Paul and then Devin Booker, either or there, that's a tough task, but dude gets it done. I'm glad he's on my Bucks team.
Yeah, he really has. He's been a good addition to this team, that's for sure. It was a great acquisition.
Yeah, so you look at there was let me see if I can find it. But the Bucks, where was it? With their scoring stretch here, if I can find it. I mean, you're talking about some history in terms of their offense. I think it's right here.
Now they're scoring. They seem to be scoring a lot of points. And, I watched, I think, part of that game last night or one of the recent games. And every shot they threw up there for a while went in.
Yeah, I mean, their percentages were ridiculous last night, ridiculously good. This was the Nuggets. The Bucks are averaging 123.7 points per game during their 16-game win streak. That is third most in a 16-game span in which all games were wins in NBA history. The only teams with more are the 71-72 Lakers, pretty good, and the 59-60 Celtics. Both teams won the title that year. Not bad company to be in.
No, that is for sure.
But yeah, you're right. You talk about didn't seem like there was a whole lot of defense being played for the first part of this game. Bucks ended up shooting over 52% from the field overall and a staggering 46.4% from three. And that includes Drew Holiday going 1 of 7 from three. I mean, for crying out loud, Giannis went 3 for 4 from three.
I think Hudson's got to get his Orlando boys play a little defense. They're.
Well, he's not an Orlando fan. He was a Bucks fan.
Oh, I thought he was an Orlando fan.
I used to be an Orlando fan.
Okay, I knew
Shaq and Penny.
Yeah.
That day.
But I think Orlando is, let's face it, they're young. They're real young. And they've got to step it up on defense. You just can't let teams score like that.
Yeah. I mean, an efficient 28 minutes for Giannis where he put up 31 points too. That's been his game since he's been in the league though, last few years.
And every time I watch Guy, he's amazing. The laws of physics, the things he can do. A human being shouldn't be able to do that. I mean, he is unique in that league. There's no question about it.
He is. And I know the other day he talked about it too, because, and this might be a good question for Dr. Crow tomorrow, but Giannis was talking about because I mean, you look at some of the injuries he suffered, like his wrist injury. I thought he was going to be out maybe until this weekend with that wrist injury. He missed one game, I think, after All-Star break and came back. And then that game against, I'm looking at the schedule here, was Miami. He came back for that game against Miami. So he didn't even miss a game after the All-Star break. Went out with a quad injury, or he banged knees, and they said it was a contusion on his quad. And then he comes misses the Phoenix game. They win it, but then he's back in Brooklyn, and everybody's like, "Dude doesn't even miss any time or anything." And he says that his mindset is he just goes out there and does his thing, and he's got some weird healing powers and all that sort of stuff. But
Well, one thing about it, load management isn't in his vernacular.
no,
His vocabulary doesn't include that.
yeah, I mean that's where I look at the All Star game too. It was just 1 minute, but he went out there, he got a basket right away and checked out, and he said, fans voted him in there, and he wanted to make sure he made an appearance on there. And then it was like he was running a show that weekend because he was coaching a celebrity game, and he was into it.
Well, was he really? I
Oh,
didn't
he
see
was
that.
into it. Yeah, him and his brothers were coaching one of the celebrity games. So I mean, there was audio that caught because Richard Jefferson is becoming an official, the former basketball player.
Oh, he is.
And Giannis was just ripping him. He said, you're making calls like so and so, another official in the NBA, just giving him a hard time and all that stuff.
He's really getting comfortable, isn't he? In this guy, I mean, Giannis came over, you know, draft choice by the Bucks, and what, he's 6'8" or 6'9" when he was drafted. Now he's grown to where he is
7 foot,
now.
6'11".
Yeah, and he's just improved so much. His vocabulary, his comfort zone. I mean, it's funny. He's really relaxed in his interviews, and he talks about, I'm going to Culver's to get a butter burger. I don't like that Chick-fil-A. I'm going to get a butter burger, cheese curds from Culver's. I mean, he's getting very comfortable.
Mhm. Yeah, and so I was debating whether to bring this up, but I since we're talking about Giannis, I'm going to. So Giannis was actually on, I don't know if the Daily Show on Comedy Central, if you
No, I didn't
remember.
see that.
You've heard of the show,
Oh,
obviously, yeah.
absolutely. You bet.
So they've got like fill-in host now, I think, because they're trying to find a new one. But anyways, Giannis was on it the other night, and I'll just actually play the segment here. But the host of that show was trying to get Giannis to trash talk because Giannis doesn't trash talk.
Mm.
So the host actually put up like trash talks to other, Giannis, look at this and read it. And every time Giannis did it, he felt so bad he was apologizing to the player. Like it was KD, it was LeBron and that. However, because it's all about hot takes and that, a certain somebody was serious and attacked Giannis for this. I'll just play the segment. So this was from the Daily Show the other day, and I think this is just I don't. I'll just play it and get your thoughts on it. Let's talk about KD. There you go. So they purposely cut out that part on Skip's show to go after Giannis that way.
All you do is say Skip Bayless, and that's enough for me.
Yeah.
I mean, he is.
But look at this guy, Giannis, who
Yeah.
the humility doesn't even want to talk trash to about any other player.
Oh no. And
I mean,
and did Katie respond at all? Katie, I had to hear the whole thing. I mean, if you that's the thing with the talking heads on TV, whether it's the news networks or the sports guys, you look at how much sports during the day is on.
mhm.
It's unbelievable. We can't live, we can't think by ourselves anymore about anything that's going on. I mean, it's unbelievable. And Skip Bayless is, as far as I'm concerned, is a poster child for being a rabble rouser and
Mhm.
half truths and all those sorts of things. But I think that's great what Giannis said. And then, no, KD, I love you. That's the kind of guy he is.
Right.
I mean, trying to make Giannis into a bad guy is not profitable.
No.
Because he's not a bad guy. Everybody knows him. He's got that smile on his face. I was watching last night. I think it was last night, but when he wasn't playing the game, he wasn't playing. And he was sitting on the bench and he was laughing and he was, just having a good time, cheering his team on. He was the biggest cheerleader there. And, everybody on that team has to love the guy.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, somebody the other day, and I was talking about this too. The attention that the Bucks get. Maybe the do they get enough national attention in that? And there's part of me that I'm okay that they don't, because I don't want the manufactured crap or drama that would come from getting national attention.
Oh yeah.
Because if the Bucks were to get more attention, national attention, then something like they lose a couple games. Oh, is there drama brewing between the Bucks? Oh, what does that body language mean from Giannis towards? As long as we pay attention to them, we follow them. I think if you want that more national attention, and I get it where people want the national attention sometimes, it's just I don't want that manufactured drama that would come with it.
No, and Giannis is a special player, as great as he is, but also with his personality and his attitude. He really is. I mean, you look at KD sitting on the bench. I've never seen him smile, I don't think, outside of the fact when they win a game or something. But he sits on the bench and he looks sour. He doesn't look like he's happy to be there. And then you look at Giannis and he's smiling on his face and he's supporting his teammates. And I take nothing away from KD's talent. He is one of the greatest players ever. I mean, to be his size and be able to do what he does. But it doesn't seem like he's enjoying it at all.
Mm-hmm.
He really doesn't seem like he's enjoying being as great as he is, because I don't think he feels he's got a home yet. I really, he's bounced around and he's bounced around again now, going to Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Does he have a home in Phoenix? Who knows?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know how long it's going to be before, if they lose 2 or 3 games in a row with KD in the lineup. Oh, what a mistake. The chemistry's not right, or this, that, and anything. I don't know what's going to happen out there, but did KD respond to that thing at all? No, I don't. No, just Skip Bayless.
Yeah, and it's just, and that's where I look at some of like the sports media stuff out there, just for the hot takes, for the clickbait stuff like that. It's just like, I was thinking about this when I was watching that last night. I'm like, what would like the Grantland Rices and all those, sports reporters and journalists?
Oh,
like,
boy.
I don't consider Skip a journalist. I don't
Not
consider
anymore.
not
no,
anymore.
no.
He used to, and that's what I just don't understand. Is like
making more money this
right,
way. That's
yeah.
why. That's
like,
all to understand.
I can't fathom doing a show like that. I can't fathom that.
No, every day,
I can't.
Because every day he's coming on anti something, somebody, something. He's anti whatever. It's, to argue like that with Shannon Sharp for half an hour, whatever they're on there. I mean, it's not entertaining as far as I'm concerned, but obviously he's getting ratings because he's been on there a long time. So some people obviously enjoy that sort of thing.
Does he get ratings because people look for stuff like that?
Well, yeah, that's people. I mean, there's society nowadays with social media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So And I think that's another example. Like I was debating whether to kind of like go on a tangent about Skip Bayless or something like that, but I think that just kind of shows again the what we've always talked about with Giannis, with the humility and the humbleness that guy has.
Yeah, and if you took a poll in Wisconsin of the 3 quote superstars in Wisconsin professional athletics, Giannis, Christian Yelich, and Aaron Rodgers, which one? I mean, how do you think they'd rank as far as popularity?
I would put Giannis number 1 for me.
Yeah, and I think Yelich would be number 2 because Aaron Rodgers is just grinding away at his popularity in Wisconsin with some of these going into a cave or wherever he went for 4 days to be in the dark. I mean, I don't know if odd's the right word, but he's a different person. He's a different, I don't know if he's got any real close friends. I really don't. All these other athletes, he's got a lot of Randall Cobb, obviously, is a close friend, and some of the guys on the football field, but off the football field, I don't know what he's got. And I think, and we don't know much about Yelich's personal life or anything like that. He plays, and I know I've read that he's, active in some activities in the community for, charities and things like that. But I don't know about Aaron Rodgers. I think, to be honest, Christian Yelich and Aaron Rodgers would rank 1, 2, 3 in that order as far as the most popular superstars in Wisconsin. Don't you think?
All right. Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Giannis, and I think the lead would be significant for Giannis.
Mm-hmm. I mean this is like, and I've kind of said it about Giannis for a while now, but that's like the player that I would want Hudson to kind of like idolize. Just not only from skill sets, because we, and I mean we all did it as younger. We, the players we idolize are the best players, right?
Mm-hmm.
The guys who score the most points or throw the most touchdowns or something like that. But you talk
Tiger
about a guy,
Woods,
right? Yeah. But you look at Giannis, from all things that we've seen, you talk about an all-around person. That part of it too. That's like the perfect role model.
Yep, it is. Yeah, and Tiger's not the perfect role model,
No.
obviously, with some of the things he's done, but still, for success, I mean, he's unlike any other we've seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and like, who was it? Was it Charles Barkley that said, "I'm not a role model" or something like that?
I know I wouldn't want to be a role model.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you're just kind of put in that
you
position.
have no choice.
Yeah.
You have no choice.
Exactly. So, oh man, and I love that guy. I love Giannis so much.
I think we in Wisconsin obviously do as well. Everybody that's a Bucks fan, and he's made a lot of people Bucks fans. Let's face it, because people, I don't follow the NBA, but they follow the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, because of Giannis, because of the success. And, success begets success. Lazary is going to sell his portion of the team. And you see what the value of the team, where that puts the Bucks paper value?
Mm-hmm.
This is Milwaukee, a small market team. The second most valuable franchise in the NBA.
Yeah.
I mean, you got New York, you got Phoenix, you got Los Angeles, you got Miami, you got Chicago, you got all these big cities, Philadelphia, and Milwaukee Bucks are the second most valuable team now based on this sale, 25% sale of the team from Lazary to the owners of the Cleveland Browns.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope the Cleveland Browns owners don't bring their mentality into this.
I
they
think
haven't been very successful.
Well, that's what a lot of people are. I think a lot of Bucks fans, majority of Bucks fans, are nervous about or don't like too. Is like, oh boy, like, because he's very hands-on and rosters and all that, and it's like, oh, what kind of hands-on roster decisions is he going to make? And I'll just stay away from player management. Just stay away from that.
Yeah, exactly. Just sign the checks.
Right, exactly. We know that you're not afraid to spend money for players, but just don't pick the players. John Horst has done a fantastic job as general manager for the Bucks. And I remember when he was first hired, there was like, who, because they had a GM in waiting, and then they promoted their director of basketball operations, who was John Horst. That guy has done a fantastic job. I don't think there's too much to complain about.
Yeah, that's why, and I'm sad to see Lazary leave, Alex. I don't know if he got frustrated because he didn't get the Democratic nomination to run against Ron Johnson.
Well, that was his kid.
Senate.
That was his kid.
Oh, that was the kid.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well, I know it was Lazary. Okay.
Yep.
But let's just say he's going to turn a handsome profit.
Oh yeah, 3.5 billion. Think about that. 3.5 billion for not even full ownership.
Yeah.
And I think what was it? They paid Herb Cole like 500 million for the whole franchise.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad.
No.
Not bad at all.
And Herb Cole, you know, he's you got to say he's the godfather of the Bucks because he would not sell that team to anybody that wanted to move it. There, he could have gotten more money because he said, I could have got more money because I remember when he was leaving as a U.S. senator and I had a chance, off and on to talk to him once in a while, and he loved to talk Bucks basketball, and I loved to talk basketball a little bit. We never had long conversations, but I asked him about that one time, and he said, I could have got more, but this team is not leaving Milwaukee, and I had guarantees from Lazary and the people that bought it. This team will stay. And they built the Pfizer Forum, and man, it's a going operation.
Yep, exactly. So I think they're not going to, even with the new partial owner, they're not going to be going anywhere. So
oh no, I don't know where they could go. I mean, if they did, it'd be it would be mass hysteria.
I think there might be some Wisconsin fans that might want a new Brewers owner. Maybe they wanted Haslam to buy that team.
Well,
Possibly.
that's possible. I guess I thought Antonavia. What is
Mark Anasio?
Anasio. I thought he was going to be a better owner than he's turned out.
He started off really well.
Exactly, and I thought, oh, this guy's moving this team to a World Series, and all of a sudden he's kind of pulled his horns in a little bit, and it's showing.
Yeah, it really is. I know we vented about that before, but we might have to bring that back up here again too. So, but that's why you can grade them. That's why we got the report cards up there if you want to grade. We went a little long there, so we got to take a break here and finish up this first hour. But little Giannis love fest doesn't hurt anybody to start off your Thursday. All right, only a couple minutes left. Let me ask you this: sticking with the Bucks here, intern. Do you think this team right now is more talented than the team that they when they won a championship
Yep.
2 years ago?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think. Well, I think they play better together, but I think too their talent. Malcolm Brogdon, is now with the Celtics.
Well, he wasn't on that
No,
championship team.
but I
Yeah.
mean, they had a lot of talent coming in there, but no, I think they are because you look at the players they can bring in and can step up, not just come in to fill minutes, but come in to contribute
Mm-hmm.
on both ends of the floor. And I think is Crowder playing? He is playing
Yep.
now
Yep.
because I haven't watched that close. I think he's only going to get better and fit into the system as it goes on.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's probably happy to be back in Milwaukee, especially with his Marquette team,
Right.
right in there for the NCAA, won their league for the first time. So I think he's happy to be back in Milwaukee. And I just think this team has and Middleton gets better. I think health wise, I think this team is better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think Boston is too.
That's going to be a heck of a matchup, isn't it, if they face each other in Eastern Conference
Oh,
Finals?
there's no question about that.
I think the winner of that one was going to win the whole thing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's going to be a battle royal. I'll tell you what, because the West has some good players, but I don't, Jokic and some of those other guys, like Lillard up in Portland, and I don't know if the Lakers with LeBron hurt now, whether the Lakers, that's a long road to hoe if they can even make the play-in tournament.
Yeah.
They're not guaranteed anything depending on LeBron's injuries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that kind of puts a big old question mark on everything there.
And also, Anthony Davis is only an ankle roll away from being out for the rest of the season. I mean, it seems like every time he gets hurt, it's very serious.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just day to day.
Right.
He's out for 3 weeks or something like that. So the Lakers, I think, are facing probably the biggest challenge to get in the playoff of any of the teams that are. And the Warriors, they're not exactly playing good basketball right now without Curry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the West, I think too. I think the East has, maybe with Philadelphia, if they ever get their act together, they could be pretty good.
Bucks play Philadelphia Saturday, so that should be a good game right there. So
and Philadelphia's want to break that winning streak.
Oh, and you know it. So I don't think there will be any load management from Joel Embiid or Giannis or anything like that in that game.
So. I don't think so.
So all right, we only got a few seconds until that shot clock comes up here. Well, there you go, right there. So coming up next, we'll do some sports nuggets, and then we got a little throwback Thursday. It was kind of a big day. You were around in 1962, weren't you, intern?
Oh, was I ever?
All right, let's see if you remember this particular game for our throwback Thursday.
All right.
From 1962.
We'll see.
1 hour in, we got a couple more to go. Stick around. We'll be back after these quick words. All right, second hour kicking off on this thirsty Thursday. If you got any shout outs, you can text those babies on over to us on the Shoe Doctors bullpen line at 715-830-1912. If you got any questions for our conservation warden buddy, Mr. Jake Bolks, coming up at 8:30, text those babies on over too. We're going to get to some report cards. We'll get to that a little bit. I think I'm going to save that. Maybe we'll hit that up here this hour. I don't know. But with the NFL Players Association coming out with grades for teams, we're going to do our own from a fan perspective. If anybody missed it, the Packers were ranked at number 6 overall. Vikings were number 1. Any guess, intern, on who was the last team? Don't think too hard.
Bears.
No. Commanders, Washington.
Well, that's ownership, but I mean, you talk facilities, they got the worst facilities and everything too.
There's a lot of, I mean, if you look at the categories, how they treat families, strength training, athletic training. There was one, apparently the Cardinals. So like team meals and that, the Cardinals charge players team meals. They come out of their payroll. They're the only team in the league that does that.
Wow.
So there's other, but the one that was really interesting was the Kansas City Chiefs, 29 out of 32. Kansas City. And the big thing was, and I wonder if this is going to get any notice, a lot of it had to deal with injuries. Players said that they were afraid or nervous to talk about if they were injured or not because of repercussions. Like if they were going to, kind of be, and they were encouraged maybe to not report all of them. So I'll be curious to see if there's any fallout from that one.
That sounds like a lawsuit to me.
Yeah, which surprises me because Andy Reid and, I don't know, but yeah, that one kind of surprised me a little bit there. The one thing or a couple things were on the Packers thing, but the one that was notable is that the players would like updates in the locker room.
I've never been in the locker room, so I don't know what the locker rooms are all about.
Yeah, their big thing was there is space, but it feels like it's getting old, and they want cushions on their seats, on their bench seats.
If that's their biggest complaint, I don't think there's much to worry about.
Yeah, so let's do some sports nuggets of the day here this morning.
Cushions. Oh, Lord.
I would feel like that. Yeah, never mind. When I think of cushions, I was thinking when I had to work at the Y and the locker rooms and those leather couches.
Oh, yeah.
It's like germ-infested stuff in there. Yeah. 1904, the official playing rules of professional baseball clubs were adopted. We got, what do we want to do? Babe Ruth, 1927, signed a 3-year contract with the New York Yankees worth $70,000 a year. Let's go with the first televised intercollegiate track meet was seen on TV in New York City on W2XBS. The game presented live from Madison Square Garden, New York University won the meet. Let's go. Bobby Hull in 1966 became the first NHL player to score 50 goals in 2 seasons. What else we got? The Colts in 2004 signed Peyton Manning to a 7-year, $98 million deal with $34.5 million signing bonus. It was the largest package to date in the NFL. That looks pretty darn small compared to what some of these contracts.
They got their money's worth in that contract.
No doubt about it. So those are just some of your sports nuggets of the day brought to you by Ansay Associates. One of them that I purposely left out is for our Throwback Thursday. This day in 1962 was the 100-point game. Wilt Chamberlain.
Nobody's got any film of it. Hershey, Pennsylvania. And there's not 1 second of film that I've ever seen or that anybody has. Of course, you don't have phones like you do now or camera phones and everything else. So I can't believe, though, that there wasn't some local sports channel or somebody station from around Hershey. I know Hershey's not that big a town, but wow, that's unbelievable. That's probably you got film from, you mentioned Babe Ruth signing 1927. You got film of Babe Ruth playing baseball and, all these guys, Ty Cobb and way back when, early football, and you don't have any pictures of Wilt outside of that one still picture holding a sign that said 100.
Mm-hmm.
It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. You look at the box score. So the game overall was 169 to 147. Philadelphia Warriors beat the New York Knicks. Wilt had his 100 points. There's also 4 other players on that team that had double-digit scoring for the Warriors. You had, Guy Rogers with 11 points on there.
Played for the Bucks.
Mm-hmm. Paula Reason had 16 on there. Al Adels, 17. Tom Meschery, 16 points.
Yeah, Tom Meschery. He was a
yep.
good player.
They shot a total – so the Philadelphia shot a total of 115 times. For comparison, last night the Bucks didn't even shoot 100 times in their game. So this one was 115. And then New York shot 118 times. They had 3 players that scored 30 or more points in this game. Richie Guerin had 39. Cleveland Buckner had 33. And Willie Knowles had 31 points. And those are pretty solid games, but not when the other guys got 100 points.
I wonder what the longest shot was that Wilt made. You know, he did that finger roll, but I don't know if he had 40 finger rolls and whatever else. But wonder what the longest distance shot Wilt took.
Might have been his free throws
that night.
Might have been
he probably didn't make many of them.
He actually, you want to know what he shot from the free throw line?
What did he shoot?
28 of 32.
Oh, wow.
87.5% from the line there.
That's good.
That surprised me.
Yeah.
But played all 48 minutes, 36 of 63 from the field. Also had 25 total rebounds.
63 shots.
Guy Rogers was probably just having a night that night because with his 11 points, he had 20 assists too.
Oh, sure.
I'm sure he was just dishing it down low to Wilt the whole time.
Just throw it up there and let him finger roll it in.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So do you think that's one of those records? I mean, this year we've had a couple of 71-point games. Damian Lillard and Donovan Mitchell had 71. Obviously, Kobe had his 81. I don't think we'll get to 100.
I don't think we will. I think it's one of those Joe DiMaggio type records, you know, guys that got 40s, into the 40s, Molitor, Pete Rose, different ones. But 100, oof. I mean, nowadays, you almost have to just give the ball to the same guy every time. You know what I mean? You're not going to score that many points. It's not going to work. I think the 100 is pretty safe.
If there was a player right now that you had to pick that you think could do it, who would you pick?
Probably Kevin Durant if he's healthy, because he can do it out with a, you know, and that's the thing. These guys now have the benefit of a 3-point shot, which Durant is very efficient at, besides, you know, the regular 2-point shots. But, you know, that's why I say Pete Maravich's record in college basketball without the 3-point line, they put a 3-point line in and did film of all his games. I wonder what his scoring total would have been. And so it could be broken now, the more I think about it, with the 3-point field goal line with a guy like Durant, who is so good outside, as well as, you know, from medium range, short range, whatever. I think he would be the guy. I don't think Steph Curry could do it.
Steph Curry was the guy that I kept thinking if he just pops up threes the whole time.
Yeah, but I don't think he could do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you got to make 25 or 30 threes to, besides, you know, a few free throws or whatever. But I just don't, you know, to shoot that many is one thing, but to make that many is what you have to do. I think the 100 point.
You'd almost have to have that mindset. Yeah. I'm going to go in and do this.
Yeah, I think you do. And I think Durant is the one guy that I think would have the opportunity to do it. I mean, you got Tatum for the Celtics, great scorer, and you got Mitchell for Cleveland, and you got Lillard out in Portland, and these guys. But you know, 70 is a long way from 100.
Yeah, like a guy like Giannis ain't gonna do it.
No,
you know, I think it's kind of weird because obviously Wilt was the low post guy, but I feel like if there's going to be a guy that's going to do it this year, it's got to be a guy who can shoot from the outside.
Yeah, and a guy can shoot from outside and inside, and I think because you got to create your own shot too. A lot of times, I think the smaller guys would have a hard time. But Durant's 7 foot tall or 6'11", whatever he is, and he's the most unique player in the game right now.
Yeah. So yeah, I
when
agree
he's
with
healthy.
You. I don't think we'll get another 100-point game unless there's like some weird thing where it's like quadruple overtime and they just keep racking up the points or something. But
and Luka Doncic with Dallas, he's the same kind of player, but and he likes to throw it up there. but I don't know if he could score 100 points. But Luka and KD would be the two that I would say would have the best chance.
I want to know who. See if I can find this. Who scored the most? Oh yeah, we should know this one. Most points in college basketball. I think it was that kid from Black River Falls, that Jack Taylor or something like that. We popped up 138 or something.
Some small school that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Against Division I opponents, it looks like Kevin Bradshaw, Loyola Marymount was the So it was a U.S. international team though. Okay, so I'm just
for one game.
Yeah, and then you got Pistol Pete on here when he was with LSU going up against Alabama. He had 69. Then Calvin Murphy's got 68.
Yeah.
Pistol Pete's on here a couple times in the 60s.
Yeah, without the 3-point line.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if Calvin Murphy, did he play with or without the 3-point line? He's right about on the edge.
I don't think he did, because the date was 1968 and Pistol Pete's games.
He wouldn't have.
Yeah, so that was in 68. Yeah. So, all right. Yeah, Llewellyn Cinder's on here for 61. Percy Hawkins. Wow, that's a name. Charlotte Hornets and Seattle Supersonics back in the day. But yeah, I was just kind of curious because you don't really hear who's got the most points in college basketball individual, but nobody really gets to that mark anymore.
No.
So, speaking of college hoops, we've got Badgers taking on Purdue tonight. You giving the Badgers any chance at this game?
I would like to get my hands around Greg Gard's neck. That Michigan game just still irritates me to no end.
The foul at the end, the non-foul or whatever. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely inexcusable. But anyway, that game is over and past. You can't do anything about it, but I don't think they've got a chance against Purdue.
I'm surprised that Purdue's only favored by 4.
Yeah, so am I.
I know it's at home, so you factor that in, but I mean, come on,
they better watch their P's and Q's, because everybody expects them to lose to Purdue. But if they lose to Minnesota,
you're not in the tournament.
They're not making the tournament. If they don't make the tournament because they're losing to Minnesota, that's one thing. But the Michigan game was a win, and he let it get away. That was on him.
Something Luke and I were kind of talking about a little bit yesterday with the success that Shaka Smart is having with Marquette. Big East champs, number 6 team in the country right now. Shaka is a Madison native. And everybody's kind of wondering, is Chris McIntosh going to do something similar to what he did with the football program, with the basketball program?
I don't think so, because Gard won the Big Ten last year.
Right. But my question is, if Marquette continues to have this type of success, does that put more pressure on McIntosh and Greg Gard?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Greg Gard has to get out and get into the transfer portal. He's got to find guys that can score the basketball. Right now, this team that he's got right now has the least talent of any team in a long time at Madison. Let's face it. I mean, they just have no real talent. They really don't. And, if they went down to 5 teams for all Big Ten, there wouldn't be a Badger on it.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not very good this year. That's why it's when they do get to the point of winning a game against Michigan and they don't win it, that's what's so frustrating.
Right.
Because the kids played hard. I mean, the talent is not there, but the kids play hard. I'll give the kids credit for that. There's no give up in these kids. But, Gard just hasn't filled that roster out with players that you need in the Big Ten. You look, every Big Ten team has got transfers. And we might have one from Wahoo State or someplace, but nobody that's a difference maker.
Right.
I mean, it's just you gotta go out and get players, and he's hopefully doing that the transfer portal this year, because if he doesn't, they're not going to wait for him in the Big Ten.
Yeah. All right. I'll tell you what. Let's take a quick break. We're going to do receiver defer in the next hour. We'll save that for right before Jake pops on at 8:30. Let's do some grades. Ready to do some grades here?
Sure.
Let's do it up. So, in case you missed it, we're grading our teams. We're taking this from the NFL Players Association, but we're doing our own fan report cards here for our favorite teams in Wisconsin. And we've got 10 areas: the stadium, the restrooms, the parking, the tailgating or the pregame, concessions, team success, fan-friendly ticket prices, team shop swag, whatever you want to call it, and miscellaneous entertainment, concerts, whatever, that sort of stuff, or maybe on-site entertainment. Don't matter. Pretty open-ended. But we'll we'll put our own grade to our favorite teams and see how they rack up with each other. You play along with us too. Send us your grades, text it, tweet it, Facebook it. All right, kiddos, it's time for report cards. We'll see if mom and dad's going to hang it up on the fridge or you're going to get a little grounded for some of these grades. Might have to split this up in a couple segments here because it might take a little bit here, but that's okay. So, got the inspiration after the NFL Players Association. Players graded their teams in different categories: treatment of families, food service slash nutrition, weight room, strength coaches, training room, training staff, locker room, and team travel. The lowest grade that the Packers got was a B minus in training room. Otherwise, it was all B's, A's, a B plus on there too. Overall, Packers getting sixth out of 32 teams. So we are going to do it from a fan's perspective for all of our favorite Wisconsin sports teams out there. We're going to grade the stadiums, the restrooms, the parking, the tailgating or the pregame activities, the concessions, the team success, miscellaneous entertainment, ticket prices, swag, fan friendly, all that good stuff here too. So I some of us probably haven't been to some of these other stadiums and such. So we are going to ask you for your help. If you've been to some of these, please send us your grades so we can factor it in here. And this will be the official grades from Wisconsin sports fans. So let's start off with the Packers, since this is an NFLPA thing. How would you grade Lambeau Field, intern?
Compared to other stadiums, Lambeau Field is a bucket list. It's outdoor. Probably, the Viking Stadium maybe is a little fancier. It's indoor, this and the other thing. But football is, an outdoor game, and I've been to a few other stadiums, not a lot, but I'd grade Lambeau Field among the top 5 in the league.
I'm gonna go A on mine.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's one of those stadiums too. It's like college, the bowl. You're close to the field.
Yep.
I don't think there's a bad seat in Lambeau Field. The improvements, obviously, especially the upper level. We'll get to the concessions and bathrooms and all that too. But from a fan perspective, it's a bucket list. It's a top 5 venue. It's historic. I'll go A on Lambeau Field.
And it's comfortable because it's not like you can walk around Lambeau Field. You got parking on the edges, but you can walk around and feel comfortable getting a picture by the statues or doing whatever you want to do. It's not stadium and parking is right up to the curb next to the stadium. It's a comfortable stadium to be around.
So we're going to give her an A. I'm going to put it in pen. I'm going to put it in pen.
That's an A.
All right. How about the restrooms now for Lambeau Field, which I don't know how it is for the ladies. I just know lines are long. But it can be for the guys too, unless you're like that new level. I don't know if you've been up to like the new section and that, where they're pretty darn quick. You're in and out. But obviously in the bowl, depending on the time of the game, it could go pretty quick. But overall, how would you grade? Because this is a very important thing as a fan.
Well, and when they kind of remodel the stadium, I think they did a wonderful thing by putting restrooms that are available before the game for people that are tailgating.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you got to go into the stadium or use a porta potty or something like that.
Good point.
They've got those facilities that are outside the stadium now that you can go in and go in there and warm up a little bit.
I was going to say, there's heat in the bathrooms
exactly.
too. Yeah.
So, and they're nice. I don't know about the women's, but there's a lot of room in the men's to go in there. And if you need to warm up or change clothes or add clothes or take off clothes, whatever, I think, and I've never really had a problem with the restroom facilities in the old part of the stadium. I don't know. I'd give it a B plus.
That's
maybe.
Where I was kind of going B plus. On there.
But I think the restroom facilities are very adequate at Lambeau.
Look at this breaking down restrooms at stadiums. That's why.
Well, that's a big part of it. I remember they used to go to Camp Randall, and the poor women had no place to go. I mean, it was unbelievable. They used to, the men, the women would be on one side and men on the other, and the men moved faster. And it always happened every game. They'd halftime. In the men's, at least the section I'm in, there'd be some guys say, "Hey, come in here." Then they'd block off like 3 or 4 of the stalls, so the women could go in there, and use 3 or 4 stalls in the men's facility, because the men didn't use all those stalls. Right. So it was horrible before, but now it's getting better. So the men have to stand in line now, just like the women.
This one should be interesting. Parking for Lambeau Field. You kind of touched on it there a little bit, but overall, parking-wise at Lambeau Field,
I think it's good because there's a lot of neighborhood parking and just the camaraderie of neighborhood parking, and I don't think it's outlandish price-wise.
No, not compared to a lot of when you see the prices for other places. Yeah,
exactly. So I think parking, you don't have a big lot, although there are empty spots in the lot around Lambeau Field that I'm always amazed at of why they're not full or what they charge for those or how you get those. But I'd say parking is fine at Lambeau Field.
I think the one thing too that I like is that you can get there early, where a lot of stadiums, they don't open it up until, you see the lines for some of those, and you don't really have to worry about that for Green Bay. The only downfall that I will say, if we put in like leaving the stadium after parking, it can be a little congested. And I feel like every year or every 2 years, the city of Green Bay changes the routes to try to figure out how to get out of there. Where they'll either shut down Lombardi Avenue at a portion, or they'll close off this, and it gets a little confusing at that point.
Sometimes you can't get up to 41. You got to go all the way around, and it is kind of. But again, they got to keep the traffic moving, and you don't want to go against each other.
Right.
So I can understand why they're doing it, but parking. Getting in and out, I don't think is a problem in Green Bay. I give them a B at the lowest.
Yeah, I was saying BB plus somewhere around there. So, okay, we'll do that. Kind of that line there. Do I even need to ask about the tailgating?
They always say, well, the tailgating at a Florida game or an Alabama game or a Georgia game. Yeah, you come up here and tailgate in December. Anybody can tailgate in a T-shirt. You come up here and tailgate, and how creative people are at Madison at a Badger game, or even in Green Bay at a Packer game. I mean, you've got ways. People are creative and ways to keep warm and ways to entertain themselves. Anybody can tailgate when it's 75 degrees, but come over here and tailgate when it's 20 or 30.
Right.
That's a tailgating tradition. So tailgating, I've given it, and the food. Down south, everything's barbecued. But in Wisconsin, a lot of barbecue, but a lot of creative meats, so to speak, are put on the grill. And I give I'm giving an A.
You got
for tailgating.
You got that. Not only that, but the Packers embracing it with their Johnsonville
absolutely.
building there too.
And it depends on the season. I was over at Green Bay last year during Christmas, and somebody bought a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And they set it up, and I walked by it, and they set it up, and then about 2 hours later, I walked by it again, and it had all kinds of ornaments on it. Empty beer cans. No, I think tailgating around Wisconsin is an A+.
Yep. I got it because I was at it was the Cowboys game. Shout out! I was at the Myron Construction tailgate.
Yep.
Fish fry from walleye caught the day before.
There you go.
They're perfect right there, man.
Absolutely.
Concessions at Lambeau Field.
I don't deal with the concessions a lot, so this is a little out of my purview.
Well, I've got some thoughts on concessions.
Well, you go right ahead then.
So, obviously, they've got a lot of different varieties. They got like a supper club one. They've got your burgers. But I do find it where, and this just could be me, but it's like one of those, like when I took Hudson to his first game, he wanted nachos. I had to walk halfway across the stadium to find one of the places that had nachos.
Yeah, that's
good. I do like they're starting to incorporate this, which I think it happened with kind of the COVID era that sparked this, the self-checkout stuff now. You can go grab some stuff and self-checkout and that. But we know prices at concession stands are high everywhere. Some stadiums have it a little bit lower. Some do that, but the majority, they're fairly high at that point. But I'm probably going to go B on this one.
Yeah.
I'll probably go B. I mean, I would say it's above average, but it's not like spectacular or anything like that. So I'll go B on there. How about miscellaneous entertainment? I mean, we can put like the concerts that they have, the soccer game that they'll have. Maybe do we add in the new, Rush Center thing right there? Because now they have bigger concerts right across the street from over there. I know during the football season, they have their concerts the day before.
Well, even now, there are a lot of meetings that are held in the atrium. I know there are farm meetings that are held in the atrium at Lambeau Field.
Yep.
And
you can get married there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So they're making it very consumer friendly, so to speak.
I suppose we can factor into Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Stadium tours and that. So
absolutely.
A?
Yeah, I think it's an A.
All right.
For the stadium experience.
Stadium. I like that stadium experience. How about, is it fan friendly? Team, stadium, and all that?
I think so. Very fan friendly. Like I said, before the game, you can get out there. The toughest thing now is getting into the stadium.
Right.
But that's not strictly related to Green Bay. I mean, every stadium now has to have the you got to have the women or whoever it is who are carrying something in. You got to have a clear bag. You can't take binoculars. You can't take the binocular case in. And it can be very frustrating what do you do with your binocular case if you're going into the game and your car's parked 6 blocks away? I mean, some of those things are very frustrating. So but that's more of NFL rules and Packer rules, but it can be very frustrating.
I'll say the fan-friendly one that stands out to me is training camp with the bikes and that.
Yeah.
That's the big
thing.
And
I've never been over there for that, but I know you have, and a lot of other people have done that as well. And everybody enjoys training camp, although I think they've the ability to see the team has been reeled in a little bit from the experiences of Lombardi days.
Mhm.
It's changed gradually over time.
Team shop, pro shops, merchandise. It's pretty wide open for Green Bay. I mean,
Oh
you
yeah,
got the pro shop, and
there's a lot in there. Just
yeah.
bring your credit card because you're not going to
Exactly.
get out of there cheap.
Nope. So
That's the only thing. But again, that's prices, and
Yep.
that's what they're
Supply
making
and
their
demand.
money at.
Ticket prices, they've gone up again for Green Bay this year.
Yeah, I know it, and that I will give them a C on. I just
Yeah.
Green Bay, the Packers have more money than they know what to do with.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I'm gonna go C2 on there, and then so I know you got to do something really quick, and so we'll take a break here. But the final one for the Packers, overall team success.
I'll give them a C.
Okay.
This team should be a lot better with the two quarterbacks we've had the last 30 years.
Yeah. I'll go. Yeah, I was gonna go C, C plus, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So
2 Super Bowls is inexcusable.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, there we go. So we got A for stadium, B plus restrooms, B plus B for parking, A plus for tailgating concessions, B miscellaneous entertainment, A, C, C plus team success, fan friendly, A, ticket prices, C, swag, A. We'll save the rest for a little bit later on here. So because we're going to take a quick break. We got Brewers, we got Bucks. We're going to throw in Badger football and Badger hoops separately here. And if we got time, maybe we'll throw Marquette in there as well. Although, stadium wise, kind of the same there for Bucks and such. But we want your grades too. So participate with us. Your grades will help factor into our overall grades here. How would you grade stadiums for the Brewers, the Bucks, tailgating, concessions, all that fun stuff? It's just a fun little thing that we're doing right here, but we want your feedback. So hit us up with some text, 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, or on the video stream, facebook.com/Kasper Sports, and at Twitter as well. So we'll do that. Quick break. Bob's doing a quick interview here quick, so we'll hold off on our grades until coming up in the next hour. Also, last call here for any questions for our conservation friend, Mr. Jake Bolks. Keep the votes coming for our new brat flavor. Head on over to Mike's Star Market, grab yourself some brats and snack sticks, and then head to our website, sportstalk1051.com, to vote for your favorite flavor. They're all really good, but you got to vote for one. Got to vote for one. All right. So, had some the other day again. Pretty darn tasty. We'll get back to our report cards coming up in the next hour, but we'll probably pick that up right before Jake pops on here. But kind of I just saw this pop up. Giannis. Now we know remember, I kind of forget about it. He is a minority owner with the Brewers, but apparently now Giannis has bought a stake in a Major League Soccer club, MLS club in Nashville. But it looks like it's him along with his brothers, Thanasis and Kostas, who plays in Turkey, and his other brother, Alex, who plays in the G League. So, but all right, Giannis expanding his ownership stakes there a little bit. Kind of forget, we're talking about, Rodgers with his minority with the Bucks, and can he maybe put in a little bit more? Maybe some people are like, hey, Giannis, can you maybe buy a little bit more of the Brewers and have some better decisions over there? I don't know, but that's kind of cool over there. Wanted to pass that along. But obviously the combine going on right now. So we got on-field workouts today, but the big news coming from the combine is that potential top pick Jalen Carter, charged with racing in a fatal crash. So he's been talking about maybe a potential number 1 pick, easily a top 5 pick, possibly. But he has been charged with reckless driving and racing in connection with a crash that killed a teammate and a recruiting staff member. The Athens Clark County Police Department issued an arrest warrant. Apparently, he was turned himself in, booked, and then released on bond overnight there. So we'll see. He was supposed to do his presser and talk to the media at the combine yesterday, but obviously that didn't happen because this was released right before he was supposed to. But he has released a statement saying that he will be exonerated. But you got to wonder, again, this is another case of a potential high draft pick, whether that's going to have him fall on the draft boards. It's really going to be interesting to see if he's going to fall, how far will he fall? Man, I don't know. I don't know how this is all going to play out. Obviously, a lot, will depend on the legal process and such, but got to imagine, I think there's going to be probably some teams that will take him off the draft board or at least put him down fairly low. There will be teams that'll be like that. And I was kind of reading there a little bit too. There were some teams apparently that were, kind of wanted to talk to him and curious about his off the field stuff before that news. But we'll see. We'll see how far he goes down there, if he does at all. But that was the big news from the combine yesterday. But now we've got on-field workouts for those defensive linemen and such, and we're getting closer to the quarterbacks too. But hey, speaking of quarterbacks, if you are a sports memorabilia collector, Joe Montana's The Drive jersey just broke some serious records in the money department. Sells for a record $1.212 million. This is the interesting thing. So this jersey that was worn by Joe Montana not only won Super Bowl, but 2 Super Bowl victories. 2 Super Bowl victories. The previous record for a jersey paid was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Tom Brady jersey for $480,000. But for this Montana jersey, he first wore the jersey in which the Niners defeated the Dolphins, and then 4 years later, in which Montana engineered that game-winning drive against the Bengals known as The Drive. The morning of the latter Super Bowl, according to what I'm reading here, Montana's wife pulled the jersey from a scrapbook and packaged it in Joe's stadium bag with a note, maybe you want to wear it again. That's a cool story because how many times this would never happen in today's game. The NFL's got these weird, like, jersey and, they find players for wearing a wrong sock or too high or whatever. They find players for that. There would be no way that a player or the NFL would even allow it. Player bringing in his jersey from 4 years ago and wearing it for another Super Bowl. But that's such a cool story. That is such a cool story. Think about that. Man, that's like the one thing too, like, I'm not Montana or anything, obviously. But like for me, if I was Montana, that would be really hard to kind of get rid of. That would be really hard to let go. That history and that story that involves it too. I don't know if I could do that. Could you do that? I don't know if I could do that. I'm kind of a hoarder anyways when it comes to stuff. But with something that memorable and something with that history attached to it, that's so cool. And, well, obviously worth a lot when you wear it for 2 Super Bowls and one of them, the iconic The Drive on there too. But Montana stuff, I'm kind of looking. Montana's uniform worn in his final played game with the 49ers, $232,800. Signed helmet from his final game with the team was $121,200. The ball from his final 49ers touchdown pass, $43,214. His signed Kansas City Chiefs uniform from his final NFL game, $92,400. His high school jersey, for crying out loud, went for $36,000. Among the items in the collection included all figures. So he even sold his Hall of Fame jacket, $36,000. $36,000, man. And bust, $14,401. Joe Montana selling a lot of his stuff.
I wonder if he's in need financially.
I don't know, but he sold his Hall of Fame jacket for $36,000.
The yellow sport jacket?
Apparently.
Well, I don't know. I don't understand that,
but we're on this because his jersey, the Drive jersey, sold for a new record of $1.212 million. But the thing is, like, this would never happen again. I just think it's a cool story. He wore that jersey for 2 Super Bowls, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
So the first one he wore was when they beat the Dolphins. And the story goes, the morning of the last Super Bowl, the one against the Bengals, his wife grabbed that jersey from a scrapbook and packed it in his bag with a note, maybe you want to wear it again. So he did. That's just a cool, like, that would never happen in, the rules that the NFL has. You wear a sock that's the wrong shade of color, you're going to get fined and all that. So, but if that were me, I don't know if I could get rid of stuff like that or sell it or anything.
I don't know if he's financially in trouble or if he said, enough of this, I'm getting, but why would you do that? You work so hard, you became so great, and you want to throw that out with the trash, more or less. I mean,
because he's got kids, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, I don't understand. I don't know that they don't explain why he did it, huh?
No, not from what I'm seeing on here. So, but man, what a cool story with that too.
Yeah.
Before
G-Man buy it?
Yeah, G-Man, did you buy that now? That's a good question.
Add to his collection.
No kidding. Hey, you missed it, but I just saw this pop up. Giannis is another owner of a sports club now, sports team. Him and his brothers apparently
soccer.
Yep. Bought stake in an MLS club in Nashville, Tennessee. So, kind of forget he does have a minority ownership with the Brewers.
Yeah, he does.
Kind of forget about that one.
Rodgers has minority ownership with the Bucks.
Well, that's what I was kind of saying. Is like everybody's like, "Hey, Aaron, can you pipe more money in, and maybe you can, have more decisions over Haslam." Maybe some people are kind of saying the same thing with Giannis with the Brewers.
Rodgers making $59 million this year. But that's chump change when you talk about the value of these franchises.
Yeah, $3.5 billion, and you don't even have the whole kit and caboodle. Man, what would you buy a stake in a sports team if you had $3.5 billion?
Probably not.
Yeah, I'd probably just sit on it, do nothing.
Well, I mean, if you want to be involved in it. There's all kinds of ways to be involved in it.
Yeah.
That's, if you got that kind of money, that's stupid rich is what that is.
Yeah.
And so, and that's the egos that those people have. That's an exclusive club to be an ownership in the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball. It's kind of like being in the U.S. Senate.
Yeah.
It's a pretty exclusive club.
Yep. Hey, I know we got a few minutes
The
here.
only thing is, when you get in the U.S. Senate, you make more money as you get into it. When you buy a sports franchise, you're paying out money.
That's true. Before we finish up the second hour, I got to ask you, this first time, but with the spring training games, how do you like this pace of play that's going on? Do you like the faster pace of play?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I got a receiver for later.
Okay, for that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But I think it's going to keep fan interest. They say that baseball is a slow game. Baseball is not any slower than football.
Yeah.
Because you look at play takes how long to run a play.
Mm-hmm.
Then they got 30 or 40 seconds to run the next play. So there's downtime in football. Just it's not as noticeable, so to speak, as it is in baseball.
Was the other game the other day, on the 28th, 2 hours and 11 minutes. Brewers, and I think that might have been the Brewers and Cubs one.
Yeah. They don't want to get it too fast because then they're going to cost themselves some concessions.
That's true.
So they got to find a happy medium here.
I feel like regular season won't go that quick. I think spring training will, but
I think a few years ago when they changed the strike zone, they did it in spring training, but then they got into the games and pitch at the letters supposed to be a strike. And that in the regular season, they didn't call it strikes again. So we'll see how it translates into the regular season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The one thing I was kind of curious about too, like, because you were mentioning with football, and it's kind of goes to I guess I'm thinking of it more when I'm at the game. Football, I ain't going to the bathroom. I ain't grabbing a beer unless it's like end of the quarter or maybe my team's on defense and I can run there quick or something like that. Basketball is the same thing. You're kind of constantly watching. Baseball, it's more that casual. I'll just get up now and go get it. But with things going quicker now, I wonder if fans are going to be like, okay, I'm going to stay more in tune to that game.
It's a good question. I don't know, but it'll be interesting.
Because I don't know if you saw the other day, the first game where Atlanta. Can you imagine this scenario? Did you see what happened?
No.
It was bases loaded, tie game. The batter got ringed up for a third strike because he wasn't in the batter's box in time.
Good.
Game over.
Good.
So that's the other part. Everybody talks about the pitch clock, but that's the other part of that whole thing too, is the hitter,
stepping out and tightening their gloves and adjusting their equipment below the waist and all that other stuff. Get over it.
Yeah, the umpire, as soon as it hit, I think he has to be in there within 8 seconds or something, and he wasn't. Guy thought he got a walk. And the ump's like, nope, you're out. Game was over.
Well, that's the wake-up call that they're going to need. I'm glad they're doing this in preseason and spring training because, these players have gotten, they've gotten away with it because they talked about we're speeding up the game. Well, my goodness, for adjusting this and adjusting that between pitches and holding their hand up to the umpire to hold up the game, and the umpire's now probably not even going to look at him. He's looking at the clock. You got a place to be in 8 seconds. You better be here.
Because I think there was just the other day too, a Cardinals pitcher or a Cardinals hitter was trying to ask for. He had his arm up and ump wasn't even acknowledging it. Guy threw a strike, got a strike. Wasn't granting it at all. So
good.
But
we've all played the game. You don't need that much time between pitches. Throw the ball back and you get ready. By the time the ball goes past you, catcher gets it, throws it. If you can't get ready in the batter's box,
I think I saw a clip.
Should be a strike.
I think it was early. I think it was Joey Votto in his early days. It was on social media. I think it was him. I'll have to double check it. But he just stayed in there the whole time, like in his early days. Pitch, his foul, kind of swung it, but he didn't even move. He was already set in the batter's box and all that.
I think it makes you a better hitter because you're more focused. If you're worried about your gloves and you're worried about your helmet and all this other stuff, I think it's going to be good for the game, and I think it's going to make a difference.
Yep, exactly. So, well, and like Dale told us too, that he thinks that's really going to help Dalton. He's up in the batter's box there too. Yeah, it was Joey Votto against Derek Lowe back in the day. It's pretty funny. Doesn't even hardly move. He's just still there. So it's kind of like Little League, that one kid that won't even move the whole time.
Oh, no, the kids are great.
All right, 2 in. We got one more to go. We'll pick up our report cards coming up after this quick news update. All right, final hour on this Thirsty Thursday. Appreciate y'all tuning in, however and wherever you may be checking us out from. If it's on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, also online, sportstalk1051.com. Got the app in your Google and Alexa home devices. Coming up at the bottom, we'll catch up with Jake answering your questions, our conservation warden, Mr. Jake Boakes. We're going to get back to our report card here in just a second. Jeff Passan from ESPN, I haven't had a chance to read it, but it looks like he's got an article up on ESPN Plus, so you have to pay for it to if you have that subscription there. But it's about Corbin Burns. Sounds like an interesting article because he tweeted out Corbin Burns was a mess in 2019. He couldn't fix it. Then he talked with someone who told him that in order to be his best, he needed to start making his bed. And you know who that person was?
His wife.
Lorenzo Cain.
Really?
The little clip here. So Cain started with a simple assignment for Burns. When you wake up, make your bed. Start the day with an easy win. It was meant to help Burns get into a routine, emphasize self-discipline, pay attention to detail. All the things necessary to succeed on the mound could be replicated off of it. So that's what. So that when it was time to perform there, it's ingrained at that point. So
I wonder, Lorenzo Cain, of course, kind of just faded away, really. But I wonder if he's got any desire to become a manager in the future, because he's always impressed me as a real smart, common sense, do it right type of ball player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I haven't heard from him since that departure. So,
no.
But also Jeff kind of put on there too. It's no stretch to suggest that Burns is the finest pitcher in baseball over the past 3 seasons on the strength of a deadly cutter that reaches 98 miles per hour. He has the highest strikeout rate among starters, the lowest opponent OPS, and the most Fangraphs wins above replacement. In all of baseball history, only one other pitcher has a 3-year period with at least 400 innings pitched, a sub-3 ERA, a sub-250 fielding independent pitching, these are weird analytics, a sub-1.00 whip, an adjusted ERA 50% better than league average, and a strikeout rate of at least 33.4%. And that's Pedro Martinez, 99 to 2001. Not bad company.
Pretty good company. I was just going to say the same thing. Yep, that's not bad. And I was just sitting here as you were talking about that, the best pitcher in baseball with all those statistics, parallel to the Packers. You had the best quarterback in football, and you don't put players around him to win.
Yeah, same things happen with the Brewers.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. The comparison there is I think just jumps right out at you. Mm-hmm. Not only Burns, but Woodruff and
not taking advantage of cheap pitching.
Exactly, and I think Rodgers isn't cheap by any means, but you've got the best in the game, and you haven't matched him up with players that can help him. I think it says something about Adenagio, and it says something about Gutekunst for the Packers. I just think there's a real parallel there.
Yeah.
There should be more championships.
Yeah, it's like, if you had a rookie quarterback that was taking you, like, let's say you had like Patrick Mahomes on a rookie deal and he was lighting it up, and you don't surround a guy with players.
Yep.
We talk about that in football, like get the rookie quarterback and surround him. I think it's kind of similar with the Brewers. You have cheap pitching and really good pitching, and you're not doing enough.
And we don't, and Kansas City has figured it out. They've got great receivers and great players to play around Mahomes. And why they can do it, because Mahomes is getting a big contract now. Mm-hmm. He's not cheap anymore. Packers can't do it.
Yeah, Kansas City's doing it.
That's everybody's get rid of Rodgers. This other thing. Gutekunst has got to be standing in the front of that line too. His evaluation of talent has not been good.
Yeah, and Kansas City's still doing it, and they're ranked 29 out of 32 on the report cards.
Yeah, exactly. So, I just, it's a big issue for the Packers, and it doesn't focus only on Aaron Rodgers. It's not like Aaron Rodgers leaves all of a sudden, Packers are going to be great. Mm-hmm. Not going to happen.
Ray, since we're talking some Brewers, how would you grade AmFam Stadium?
Top notch. Hey.
Do you like it?
Oh, I love it.
Okay.
because they can walk around that stadium, and you can different levels or different things to do, different places to stop and do things. No, because you can get up and get something to eat, and then you can stand and eat it and watch the game without going back to your seat. And there are places you don't want to sit in the stands. Go up and stand on the railing and behind where you're sitting. I like it.
It's not the fanciest of looking
No,
ones, but
no.
you know what? And let's face it, it's got a roof. You never have to worry about a rain delay or
It's not
anything
like,
like that.
Yankee Stadium.
Right.
You watch a game at Yankee Stadium, all these padded blue seats in the lower bowl.
Mm-hmm.
3/4 of them are empty.
Right.
Unless they get to the playoffs. The Brewers, have pretty good crowds in those seats, box seats, and it's a good stadium to watch the games in.
Restrooms? That's kind of a hard one for Field. I'm trying to remember.
That's what I'm trying to remember. I think they're adequate, and I think they're fine.
Yeah.
I've never had a problem with it.
Just go B+ on there.
Yeah, they're clean, and I've never had to wait in line, so to speak.
I might go A on this one because I think it's fantastic parking.
Yeah, I do too. And getting out even.
Yep.
I think they do a wonderful job getting you in and getting you out. The only thing that I don't like with the parking and maybe it's not the Brewers' problem, maybe it's a fan problem, going in, you got to use the card. If you don't have $10 or $15 in your pocket, I mean, then it takes time. That's that's the only thing that I don't like.
Yep. I would give this an A2. I think tailgating is perfect at AmFam Field.
Yep.
There's enough space.
They park you so you can you can park and it's 2 cars. So if you want to be in the front, if you say, "Oh, I want to tailgate," it's okay. Park over here and behind somebody else so you can be out in the open area. No, I think I agree with you.
And it's right next to the stadium. You don't have those long walks to get to the ballpark and such. So, yeah, I love tailgating at AmFam Field. So,
I do too.
Concessions, I mean, kind of normal baseball stuff, isn't it?
They're odd.
Yeah.
But you go up there and buy a bag of peanuts. It's $4.69. So you buy nachos and it's $5.83. $6 or $10. I mean, I don't understand the oddball numbers that they've got for their concession items.
So
I really
B,
don't.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's a B. Yeah, because I don't know, because it's on a card anyway.
Right.
So it's not like you got to have all this change.
Right.
But then you go up there and you want to buy a popcorn or a peanuts or something, and you pick it off yourself, and nobody serves you at some of those stands. But then you put it on a card and a tip. Well, I'm a tip myself, and nobody's done anything for me. I mean, and I don't mind tipping when it's when it's called for. I tip people pretty well.
Yeah.
But I just don't understand the oddball numbers of the charges for these items.
Miscellaneous entertainment. I mean, they do some good stuff. They got their concerts. They've done like overnights for kids, I think, where you can camp in the outfield. And
we went down there a couple of years ago. Was it Billy Joel or somebody was down there playing? He was out in center field, and we were down the left field line. But they've got the big screens, so you can see them. It was great.
Badgers played hoops there this past year.
Yeah, Badgers played hoops there, and even during the games, for the kids, they got places to throw the ball or get your picture taken with Bernie Brewer and all these sorts of things. So I think they do a nice job.
Yep.
The thing is, they got to be careful because it's grass,
right?
And if you're going to have a whole lot of people running around out on the outfield grass, you got to be careful you don't tear it up.
Yep. I mean, you can see it. Few months in the season where those outfielders always stand.
Yep. Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's right there.
Absolutely.
Fan friendly, I'd say A.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
The people that run the stadium are very helpful, and I think they do a nice job.
Ticket prices, I mean, obviously depends on a game.
Yeah.
Otherwise you probably could go to a game for fairly decent price.
Baseball is always, you want to sit in the bleachers, you can always get a cheaper ticket in baseball. Football, it's not that way.
Right.
So I think baseball has always been the prices are expensive, but I mean, it's been more fan friendly that, if you want to take a bunch of kids, you can go sit in the bleachers and
you can get that group ticket thing.
Thing more so than you can with football with the Packers, because obviously the Packers have that waiting list that you're on, and you'll be 92 by the time you even get close to a ticket.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So B+. B plus A?
absolutely. Yeah, B plus. Yeah, I think so.
Team store swag. I mean, I guess if we want to expand it out a little bit, I mean, nothing compares to like we could go to a store and you could get Packer stuff. I think even at a grocery store if you wanted to.
And brewer stuff, yeah, all that stuff.
So,
I mean, the store is there. You're paying a premium, but then when you're at the stadium, and they're taking advantage of people.
Mm-hmm.
It's impulse buying.
Right. Oh yeah.
When you go to Disneyland, are you going to pay $10 for Mickey Mouse ears? Yeah.
Yep.
If you're going through Walmart and they got Mickey Mouse ears there for $3, you're not going to buy them.
No.
But it's impulse buying, and that's what they're providing. You bet.
Yep.
All the caps and shirts and balls and everything else, you're in the moment. And that's, and you got kids with you. Oh, Dad, a ball. Can I get a brewer ball or a brewer cap? Well,
bobblehead.
Yeah, exactly. It's impulse buying.
Team success.
C.
That's what I was going
any
at.
more than C. Like we just talked. Pitching we've got, and they're not putting players on the field, just like the Packers.
Appreciate that they've been in the postseason that many years in a row. Never experienced that, but I think the expectations have risen a little bit.
Oh, I think they're real high. I mean, I this year, and I've been watching a little bit of the preseason, and I'm pretty hopeful that they've got some guys that can put some offense.
Yep. So this one, I know it might be a little bit difficult because I don't think you've been there, but for the Bucks, for the Pfizer Forum,
I've never been there.
But I'll give it an A. I've been there, so I'll give it an A right there.
Yeah, my son's been there, and he said it's a beautiful facility.
So I kind of go through some of the things that we can do, but like team success, A.
Oh, absolutely.
Got to get an A on there, right? So
absolutely.
We'll go. I want to get because this is going to be in your wheelhouse. Badger football. We'll go to Badger football here quickly.
All right.
Stadium. I'm going to count on you for all these ones here.
I think the stadium is B plus, just because it's old and it's hard to retrofit it to some of the modern. I mean, you're sitting. It's like Lambeau Field. You're sitting on benches. You get individual seats if you want them, but you're still sitting on benches. It's not like some of the stadiums that have individual seats. But B plus to an A. I think Camp Randall is a wonderful facility, and especially with the upgrades.
I was just going to ask with the upgrades over there. Is it the south end zone? South?
Well, they've got in the field house end zone, which would be the south end zone. I don't see the attraction myself when I sit there and watch it. I don't see the attraction of it. I've never been up there, so I and I know they've got TVs up in there and this, but I don't see the attraction. I'm not an end zone seat person. I want to be on the side, but that it's been an improvement. Whether it's paying off, I don't know. They used to have one thing I miss. They used to have the band day for all the high school bands would come down and sit in that in bleachers behind or in front of the field house. Don't have that anymore because they've completely restructured it. So, but it's the modern way.
Yeah. Restrooms?
What can you? I mean, it's improved, but there's still a C.
Yeah.
I mean, even with the new improvements, it's still long lines and everything else, but there are more of them. Let's just say that. And so I give them a C, a B to a C.
We got parking. I've got thoughts on that, but I'll ask you on that one.
Parking, when you're
it's gotten better.
When you've got a stadium like this, it is a challenge. There's no question about that. So I'd give parking a C down in Madison.
Okay, that's where I was kind of because I remember times that you kind of depended on if somebody's parked in behind you. You got to wait for that.
Well, and you've got to know it. I know some areas where I can go and usually find a parking spot within about 6 blocks of the stadium. But again, you got to know the city. If you're just going down there to a Badger game, going to Camp Randall and going to the stadium and then trying to find a parking place around there. I mean, you can park places close by for right across the old Red Hotel, whatever. It's not that they're going to make it, that didn't make it, so they're going to make that into dorms across from the field house there. Below that, if you want to park there, it's like $40 or $50. So there are places to park. It can get kind of pricey, but for Madison, I mean, if you're, some Dallas, it's cheap. $40 parking is cheap.
Right.
So it all depends on your perspective.
Yep.
But there are places to park around Madison.
The tailgating.
Hey. Love it. Gotta love it. It's fun. Tailgating in Madison is fun. It's a lot like Green Bay. It's just instead of green and gold, it's red and white.
Right. Got a little bit more college kids down there.
Yeah,
too,
there's a lot of enthusiasm, and part of the band will march around to the different tailgates within about 3 or 4 blocks of the stadium and fire people up, and it's good.
We got concessions.
I give the concessions a B at the top end.
Yeah. Because it's different from pros. You can't have some stuff there.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, you can't. You don't sell alcohol in the stadium,
right?
Which doesn't make any difference to me. But some people, some people have tailgated too much. They don't need any more alcohol at the game. But the one thing that I will say about Camp Randall is the way they handle the students coming into the game. Everybody blames the students, and I've been on this soapbox for a long time.
Yes, you have. Yep.
Everybody blames the students. They better get here before this, that, and the other. Barry Alvarez used to say, the athletic department policy, because my son was a student. I said, what's the deal that you guys are in there late? He says, not our fault. They won't let us in. I'm always at the game before the game. They herd them back up in that area of the end zone under the big scoreboard. They herd them in there, and then they let them go in single file. Mm. And you got thousands of students going in there single file. And students are like anybody else on a Saturday. They're doing their own tailgating. But when you don't blame the students for not being in the game, I sit on my seats and I'm up and down for the whole first quarter letting people in. So it's not just the students. It's all kinds of fans that come into that stadium late. And I'm so sick of these people criticizing the students for being late to the stadium. It's not their fault. Mm-hmm. The students do some things during the game that I don't like, but for coming into the game on time, they've got them back up there, and they, like I said, they're running them through a chute like cattle.
So we could put that under fan friendly, I guess.
That would be a C as far as that's concerned. Yeah.
All right. So how about miscellaneous entertainment? Do they really do anything else at Camp Randall?
Fifth quarter.
I suppose. I was thinking of other stuff, but yeah, you're right. Yep.
For anybody that's been there and never stayed for the fifth quarter, win or lose the game, you're missing out on a lot of fun times. The fifth quarter is I don't stay all the time, and I'll stay maybe once a year, but I enjoy the fifth quarter, and it's if you never stayed for the fifth quarter, next time you go, do it because it's worth it.
So,
and it's a whole lot easier to get out when the fifth quarter is over too. The people are gone and traffic is starting to move out. So, but no, they do that. And the band at halftime is wonderful, and before the game, it's great.
Would you count jump around a part of that?
Oh, jump around, yeah. Jump around is everybody knows jump around. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you're a college team in Washington State or Florida, everybody knows jump around. Mm-hmm. And this last year it was neat because the guy that wrote the song Jump Around was there for one of the games.
Yeah.
And the House of Pain, he was there. And, he couldn't thank Wisconsin enough for, keeping Jump Around, turning it into what it is.
That and Todd Rundgren can thank the Packers for bang on the drum all day over there
too. Exactly. So Sweet Caroline, and a lot of teams use that. But no, I think there's a lot of entertainment. And the students are entertaining, except for the one exchange that they do between sections is I think, inexcusable.
How about ticket prices, since you are a season ticket holder?
Well,
you got to pay for the.
I don't mind the ticket prices, but and you do it with the Packers. It's a seat license.
I was going to say the seat license. Yeah,
that's a joke.
Mm-hmm. So what would you grade it? B.
B. I mean, I don't think the ticket prices are outrageous. I just grinds me that you have that seat license fee.
Yeah,
they call it a donation to the athletic department, but if you don't do it, you can lose your tickets.
Swag's pretty. I think that's an A. I mean, everybody's got.
Oh, it's out all over there. They're selling it, stands all over the place. Yeah.
So this one, I think maybe we could put like an arrow trending upward. But how would you define team success for the Badger football program? Obviously, a lot of optimism right now with Luke Fickell and such, but we don't know how it's going to turn out.
The last 2 or 3 years, it's been moderate to disappointing. Mm-hmm. But, and I think the situation has evolved to where it was. I think what happened has been fair. because the talent on the field is there except for one position, basically. And that was never addressed in the last 2 or 3 years. And so I think that had a lot to do with its success on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Was the most important position on the field was never dealt with in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
So like maybe C minus somewhere
About
around
a C. Disappointed because they had talent.
Mm-hmm. Let's go through Badger hoops here quick because, I mean, swag, I'm putting the same. I mean, it's Badgers and all that. But Cole Center.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent facility.
One thing I keep hearing from people now, too, is that they wish, and I know RJ has kind of talked about it, too, getting students to, like, the closer to the court instead of, like, the high
like Michigan
price.
State has the ISON.
Right,
you know,
or the Coach K crazy, whatever, the crazy Dookies or whatever they were over there. So
yeah, exactly.
That would maybe be the only
that
part
would be
of it,
one thing that would be nice to do. And, but, there's a lot of money that sits behind the Badger bench.
Right.
But I would think, behind the visitors bench, make that student section.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would do.
And that's more of a policy thing anyways, because it's not really a stadium,
Well, that's the university policy. Just letting the students in at the football
So maybe
games.
that might be the fan-friendly category. But stadium-wise, this is...
stadium-wise, that's excellent.
That's okay. Restrooms for the Kohl Center?
I think they're I'd give them a B to an A. They're very good.
Parking?
That's another question. That I'd give a C.
Yep, I would agree. Again, tailgating is kind of the same. I mean,
yeah, you get on there now. When you get on there for the boys' high school basketball tournament here in another week or two, there's one ramp across. I mean, you just, if you know the city, you can find it. But for people that are going down there that aren't familiar with it, it can be kind of frustrating to find parking.
Yeah, B minus, B.
Yeah, B minus for parking around the Kohl Center.
Yeah, concessions. I mean, it's kind of the same as Camp Brandel, right? Essentially, a little bit. So.
One thing I get frustrated about that one, they've got ice cream. I went in there. Well, this was in the old field house. I said, I'll have a hot dog and a couple of cartons of chocolate milk. We don't have milk in the field house. I said, you're in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
You don't have milk in the field house, and the tournament's sponsored by the Wisconsin Milk Marketing Board, Dairy Farmers Checkoff. We don't have milk in the field house. I said, what? They didn't have milk in the field. Just like I was out in California here the last couple of weeks. I was in a restaurant, they're having breakfast, and I wanted cereal or milk for my cereal. I said, can I get some milk? All you got here is this soy milk garbage. And, well, that's what we have for milk.
I thought happy cows come from California.
California is the leading milk producing state, and they don't have milk. They don't have regular milk. I said, you got to be kidding me. So that's what you run into, and that's what's frustrating.
I would say miscellaneous entertainment. I mean, I factor in state tournament.
Oh, absolutely.
And all that. And I know they have concerts and that there. So
yeah, no, they use it.
Yeah. I would go there. So team success for boys basketball.
How far are you taking this back? I mean, I can't argue. Last year they won the Big Ten.
I mean, you factor in Bo Ryan.
Well, the frustrating thing is following the football season we had.
Right.
Now the basketball, and if the football season would have been more successful, I don't think there'd be so much emphasis on this basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
But, the success of this team, see it best.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that C I put on the coaches. C to D for the coaches, I think, for putting together the team and some of the decisions. I mean, you can't let this team, and it's done it all year long. How many games have they gone 6, 7, 8 minutes without scoring a point?
Yeah, at the end of it too.
Yeah, you've got to have some way to call a timeout and run some kind of a play. This passing it around and you can't score if you don't look at the basket.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I know they can miss layups like nobody's business, but the success of the team this year, I think, is amplified by what happened with the football season, the disappointing football season.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been frustrating to try and watch this team play.
Last two, fan-friendly, Kohl Center.
Oh, I think so.
Would you say like B plus or?
Yeah.
And then ticket prices. I guess you factor in, we have Badger Hoop Center too. Yeah, I'm kind of focusing on that. But like Kohl Center, I mean, you got women's volleyball. You got to factor that in, and hockey and all that sort of stuff too.
Well, women's volleyball is at the field house.
Oh, that's right. Field house. Yeah. Yep. You're right. They did play that one at the Kohl Center.
They have the biggest crowd ever. Yeah. But and I tell you the truth, I haven't been to a men's basketball. Watch them on TV from here,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't been to a men's basketball game in a long time, so I don't even know what the ticket prices are.
Well, probably pretty cheap right now, considering what's everything
Let's
going
just
on.
say they're available
Yeah.
right now at a cut rate price.
That's a
The
good way to put
scalpers
it.
aren't making a lot of money outside the Kohl Center right now.
That's a good way to put it. All right, so I will recap all the grades. We got to take a quick break though, because it's time for Mr. Jake to hop on and give us our outdoor tidbits for this Thursday morning, and we'll get back to some texts as well. Keep those coming. Shoot us a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. All right, it is time for our outdoor tidbits with our good buddy, Mr. Jake Bolks, Wisconsin Conservation Warden. Well, we're getting that deadline there, Jake, with the ice shanties getting pretty close
Yep.
here too, right?
Yeah, that will be coming up on Sunday. Last day to have your permit out there. It's got to be gone by Monday.
All right, put that on the calendar, Bob. Get your ice shanty off there.
Oh yeah.
Get 'em off.
Can you get them off? I'll
Yeah,
tell you
no-
the way it's been. They've locked into the ice out there, aren't they? A lot of them.
A lot of guys got them off during that last kind of warm up, which was a good idea. There's a few big ones out on Lake Altoona and Eau Claire, but I already talked with those guys and they have plans to get them off. A lot of them are plowed out, so it shouldn't be a big deal. The main thing for people to remember is it doesn't mean you can't go out there and fish with like even a permanent or a pop-up one. It just can't be left on the ice overnight. So you can still bring stuff on the ice and fish and whatnot. You just can't leave them overnight anymore.
How's the activity been, Jake, for ice fishing? I talked to guys like, again, last night at bowling, and I said, how's the ice fishing? Only been once because the ice has been so messed up or whatever it is. They can't drive out there. Have you noticed a little bit of a decrease in fishermen this year?
Yeah, it's been a weird year because if you're up north, there's too much snow, so the lakes are too thick and too hard to get to. And then if you're further south, there is no safe ice because it's been so warm. And around here, there's decent amount of ice on the lakes. It's just kind of you got to hit between the snowstorms on if there's too much and you can get your vehicles out there or walk out there or not. You can get out there relatively all right now.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
but the fishing has been kind of hit or miss this year, that's for sure.
But we're not to the season yet of the planks in the back of the pickup.
Not yet.
Hey, Jake, we got a question from another Jake out there. He's wondering how many lines can you fish with on Lake Pepin if you have a Wisconsin fishing license?
Yeah, so the answer doesn't matter on which fishing license you have. It matters on which state you're technically in. So, I mean, we all know in Wisconsin you can have 3 lines. In Minnesota, during the winter, you can have 2 lines. But you have to, when you're fishing Lake Pepin or anywhere on the border water, you have to know where the state line is. And it's not just, it doesn't necessarily mean like just because you're on one side of the water that you're on, say if you're on the right side of the lake or the river, you're in Wisconsin, you could still be in Minnesota. So the key is to like find a map or kind of know where you're at. If you're in Minnesota waters, even if you have a Wisconsin fishing license, you have to have 2 lines. And it can be hard to kind of know where that state line is. So what I tell everyone is just play it safe and fish with 2 lines if you're going out on the river.
All right, good there.
Unless you know your way into Wisconsin or something.
Gotcha. Good tip there. Also, there was some spring hearings going on too, right there, Jake?
Yeah, so the spring hearings are still going on. It's like that second week in April. I think it's like April 12th through the 16th or something like that this year because it's all online. So you have 3-4 days to go online and enter in your comments. The new thing this year is that the week before the actual spring hearings, when it opens up online, they're doing kind of like an open house deal where the DNR staff and like all the Wisconsin Conservation Congress delegates will be there. And the public can come in and ask questions and just hear updates and stuff like that. So for Eau Claire County, it's April 3rd, starting at 6 p.m. at CVTC, like the campus off Claremont, not the newer one off of Claremont at 12. But I can't think of the address off the top of my head, but it's all online. You can Google it. But people can come in and you can answer or ask questions and different things and get some feedback from wildlife and law enforcement and fisheries on what's going on in Eau Claire County.
All right, would that be where they're like still taking input for the wolf stuff too? Do you know, Jake?
No, I think that closed up.
Okay.
I think Tuesday,
Okay.
and that was all online. This is more just like it's trying to get back to the old way that the spring hearings were done, where people would come in and answer questions and talk about the spring hearing questions and kind of find out what's going on locally. So they're trying to get back to that. But because they've had so much success with people just being able to go online anywhere and fill out the questions versus come in and do it on paper, that they want to keep doing it online, but then open it up for people to still come in.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that's important is just I get the outdoor news, so I read it, and there's been some conflicting information in there about that they're not going to do this or they're going to do that or nothing's happening or it's in person. At the end of the day, everything's still online, but you can come in on April 3rd and talk with your local biologists and wardens and such for your county and kind of do an open house.
Speaking of predators, the wolves and the coyotes, how has the winter gone as far as keeping them fed? In other words, of the deer herd, of the young deer, the snow that we've had, what have you seen or what have you heard out there as far as?
I haven't seen like the severity index. They do a winter severity index every year. I would think that further north they did have a decent amount of snow this year, so I would think that would affect all the animals a little bit more because it's harder to work through that snow. But for the most part, I think 70% of the state has had a somewhat mild winter, so that's going to be good for the deer because they'll be able to escape any predators and stuff like that. We've had a lot of snow, but a lot of it melts. So or right now it's pretty hard packed during the night and stuff, so deer can move across the top of it pretty easily.
Hey, Jake, we got a last second question for you here. This is from Rodney. He said, Rodney, I don't know if this is still up in your house or it's outside, but he's wondering, can I sink my Christmas tree as a fish crib?
No. So nothing can be put into any of the lakes or rivers unless you have a permit. And in order to get a permit, you got to go online and fill out some stuff. And then there's certain requirements on like how the cribs are built. And basically fisheries will stop by and check them out before they're sunk. But you have to have like a permit filled out with like an organization basically to do it. I can't remember if they were doing some. I think they put some new ones in on Altoona either last winter or this winter. So, they can be done if you work with people and fill out the permit. But you or me can't just go to our local lake and dump in a bunch of stuff. It'd be considered either like discharging stuff into a lake or lake bed, or it would be considered littering, basically.
Yeah, those are good projects. I know Lake Holcomb FFA for years built fish cribs and put them in there because of the fast moving water. And I know some scouts have done them for like Eagle Scout projects and things like that. So, if you want to do something like that, get some groups together. And I know the DNR and, they're more than welcome to do that and put them in the right places in the right way and build them the right way. So they really do help the fish.
They do help, and like I said, I don't even think you got to pay or anything. You just have to fill out the permit, so we know where they're going, and then fisheries can stop by and help you or answer questions and different things like that. So it is a good process and a good project if people are looking for it. But the best thing to do if you ever want to do it or you got more questions, call your local biologist for whatever county, your fisheries biologist, because they're the ones that handle it, and they know the habitat, the structure, and everything of all the local lakes a lot better than most people.
Good stuff, Jake. Hey, appreciate it, buddy. Always love chatting with you. Thanks for answering our questions. And
yeah, of course.
You have a good rest of the week there, bud.
Yeah, you too. Talk to you guys next week.
You got it.
Thanks, Jake.
There you go. There's Jake Boakes, conservation warden. Yeah, I did I had a conservation class in high school. Football coach, Mr. Wilson. We built fish cribs at Catherine Lake over there.
Yeah, and those are neat and to watch them, and then they take them out and how they follow it to see how the fish can get in there and kind of fast moving protect themselves against some of the predator fish. It's a neat project.
It is. So, but that's a good question. Rodney, do you still have your Christmas tree up, though, is what I want to know, or is it sitting in the yard? I hope it's sitting in the yard and maybe not up in the living room.
Either that or he's got a good vacuum picking up the needles, or a good broom if he's got a hardwood floor or whatever.
Yep, exactly. All right, we got to take our final break here. We're going to cover some bases. Hey, the PGA Tour is doing something different. We'll tell you what that is and whether it's a good idea or not. And more after these quick words. Thirsty Thursday shout-outs. I want to give a shout-out to all the State hockey is going to be going on. We got Menominee going up against New Richmond. That's Menominee surprising some people, probably going down there. But, hey, that's why they play the game, right? Playoffs.
There you go. That's right. And I'll tell you that my old coaches used to, basketball coaches, they always said, my coaches, nobody remembers who won the conference. They remember if you played in the state basketball tournament.
Yep.
And the same thing with hockey. That's a different level.
Yep, exactly. And I know we're going to find out this weekend the girls' teams that are going to be going to states. Boys' playoffs have already started. So shout out to all of you youngsters out there in these state tournaments. And I know wrestling, we had state this past weekend too. So shout out to all of you local athletes out there. So that's my Thirsty Thursday shout out, at least. Drink of water.
That's a good one.
Drink of water because you're young.
That's
Water's
right.
good for you.
That's right.
Hey, PGA Tour is going to be doing something a little bit different, according to reports. Says here Tuesday, the PGA Tour approved changes to several of its designated big money events. The fields at these elevated tournaments will be reduced and cuts will be eliminated beginning in 2024. 8 designated events in 2024 will consist of fields featuring 70 to 78 players with no cuts following the completion of the first 2 rounds. This year's Phoenix Open, for example, had 132 golfers, but next year may have just 70 to 80 in the field. Same for events like the Genesis Invitational, the Arnold Palmer Invitational, and maybe a couple other ones out there too. So similar a little bit. Some people are saying like Live Golf had some fun with this, and they tweeted out, copying or whatever, sincere's form of flattery, however that phrase goes, or something like that. But
imitation
that was the word I was looking
best
for.
Form of flattery.
Yeah.
I watched that Live Golf a little bit. The field for the PGA tournament this last week wasn't all that stellar, but again, the face of golf is changing. But I tried to watch that Live, and I know they got some good golfers there, but it seems to me like watching a bunch of guys play locally. I just don't think they're professional enough when they let them wear shorts. I mean, I love to wear shorts myself, but I just think those guys, professional golfers playing shorts, and it's almost like I'm watching the club championship. Who cares? But the people that are playing it, you're not going to get a big, I don't know. I can't get into these guys playing for that kind of money in their shorts. And then team concept, I don't understand how that all works, but I don't know. I still watch the PGA, and even though Liv had a better field of golfers playing over the weekend, I just couldn't get into it.
This was the other day here too, and we kind of knew this was coming because it was announced a while ago, but this was this partnership with Tiger and Rory. But Tiger Woods and Rory also introduced TGL, a new tech-infused league that will partner with the PGA Tour. 6 teams of 3 PGA players will compete in 15 regular season Monday night matches, followed by semifinals and final matches starting January of 2024. The matches will be played at a tech-infused short game complex. Fans will be able to see every shot live over a 2-hour broadcast on prime time television. Some of the players, of the 18 players so far, 7 have been announced, but they're pretty big names. Tiger Woods, Rory, Justin Thomas, your guy John Rahm, Matt Fitzpatrick, Max Homa, Colin Morikawa, Adam Scott, Billy Horschel, and Xander Schauffele, and Justin Rose is commit. That's a pretty big lineup so far.
It really is, and I'm sure there'll be other. Where's Jordan Spieth?
Yeah, I think he'll probably be on there at some point.
There'll be more, and I don't mind that kind of thing. I think that'd be kind of fun to watch, but I don't understand the format of the Live where they're playing in teams, but yet they're playing individual.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
And I like
really
they're doing
what that's
this
all about.
January, kind of the off season of golf there too. And I mean, let's face it. Around Eau Claire, we're seeing an influx of simulators and golf simulators coming in. This is a thing now. It's I'll watch this. I'll pay attention. I mean, Tiger at prime time doing something like this, heck yeah, especially with these big name golfers.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Tiger played 72 holes last week, so hopefully he's going to be ready for the Masters.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the thing that the PGA still, and I think the past winners of the Masters, even if it was LIV now, they can play in the Masters.
Yep.
But going further, I don't know how that's going to work. You know, the ratings, I don't know how good these courses are that Live Golf is playing on. I'm not following it that close, but you know, golf's got some work to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know you don't have Netflix, and everybody's probably like getting irritated with me bringing this up, but if you did, they've got this documentary series called Full Swing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's fantastic. It's kind of like a behind the scenes of different golfers, and I loved it because I think that's the one thing golf needed, because we all know about Tiger, but it gave you a behind the scenes and followed golfers like Justin Thomas, Rory, Tony Finau was fantastic on there. Like I'll spoil the Tony Finau one, but I didn't even know this was a narrative. But the narrative apparently around the golf world was that Tony Finau, who's ranked in the top 20, but he can never win a major championship because he's too much of a family man and he spends too much time with his family. But then they kind of do it behind it, and then you find out what's actually going on in that. Tony Finau is now one of my favorite golfers just because of he wants to be a dad, he wants to be a family man too.
Right, he's got about 6 or 7 kids, lives in Utah. I mean, he's not down at you know, Palm Beach,
everybody's in
Florida.
Jupiter, Florida, I think, at this, you know,
Dallas or someplace in California. And he's out in Utah,
mm-hmm.
and you know, his family comes to the tournaments, and tournament he won. I thought he was running an adoption agency. He had so many kids around him, but that's great.
Yep, because he just won in Minnesota.
Over
there back to back that weekend.
Yep.
Then there was another golfer that I think is going to become a big fan favorite. I'm blanking on the name right now. Joel Dahlman. He's probably going to be he's the one. I don't know if you remember from the Phoenix Open, like he took his shirt off when he was.
Yeah.
But he's the guy who's like, I'm not going to win a major. He's freaking talented in all the world, but I'm not going to win a major. But he could if he actually just stayed focused. It's really good. I liked it because I know now I'm like, hey, I know a little bit about that golfer. I can follow him and root for him and that sort of thing on there. That's why I loved it on there, and learning about Matt Fitzpatrick, you know, an amateur in that too. So, or not an amateur, but you know what I mean? So
yeah,
if you ever go to somebody's house and watch it on Netflix, just sit down on the couch and binge it for a little bit.
All right.
So,
what's it called?
Full Swing.
Okay.
Full Swing. It's really, really good. First one's about JT and Jordan Spieth. I didn't know those two were good friends.
Oh, they've been really good friends
since
junior golf.
Yep.
Yeah. No, they're very good.
I knew
friends.
JT and Tiger, and the common theme in a lot of them, they all got started because Tiger.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. Tiger.
And you know, Justin Thomas and Tiger Woods are really good friends, but I think it's on a different level than he and Jordan Spieth.
Yeah.
You know, because you know, with Tiger, he's Tiger.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be a good friend, but you still hold him in awe.
Yeah.
You know.
And the cool thing too, it was the last one's about Rory, and Rory won the Players or the FedEx, and he was in the locker room. He's looking at his phone, and he's just like, he's always the first. He's always the first. And he smiles. He's like, it doesn't matter when or what. He's like, Tiger's the first one to always text him after he wins. He's the first text that he says he'll text me before even the putt drops. Like he's reaching out to all those guys. And
well, I know Tiger thinks an awful lot of Rory, and like he told his kid Charlie, he said, if you want to learn how to play golf, watch Rory swing, not mine.
Yeah. You know, Dan Patrick had a great question, I thought, the other day, and I know we're running out of time here, but he said, whose kid would, could you see having more success? Is it Tiger's kid or LeBron's kid?
Tiger's kid.
I think it's Tiger's kid too.
Yeah, I don't think Bronny is that good.
Yeah, I thought it was like, wow, you think about it, you got two of these kids, look at their dads, all-time greats. But Charlie, I think that swing, that kid's got something.
Yeah, he does.
He's got something, man.
Yeah.
If you haven't, it's pretty special.
Yeah, it is. And, and
makes me jealous.
Yeah, tell me about it. But, I think from I've never seen LeBron's kid. Well, I have seen some highlights, and he's good, but I think Charlie has more upside. Charlie Woods has more upside in golf than Bronny has.
Yeah. Yeah. So
without his dad, it's hard to evaluate him, impartially.
Right.
Because his dad's always going to be there. Well, if he's anywhere near as good as his dad, you got to give him a chance. Well, there are a lot of kids that deserve that chance. It's just he's in the right place at the right time with LeBron as his dad. And nothing against the kid and having it that way. More power to the kid and good luck to the kid. But I think Charlie Woods is going to have more upside.
And I think a lot of it, too, is like Charlie, I mean, he's got to prove it himself on the course. He's going to get chances probably, but, he's got to prove it himself. Whereas, Bronny, I think it's fair to say some team is going to draft him probably higher than he should.
Yep.
And his dad might come over, and it was kind of a money grab.
Ball got drafted by the Lakers.
Yeah. Yep.
Too high.
All right. That's going to do it for us on this Thursday, but we're back tomorrow morning just past 6. We will talk to you all then.